every turn. And yesterday, the criminal justice system has let us down.
Your snoring is so loud. Hey, guys. I'm listening to my dogs snore like crazy. It's so loud. Let me know if I'm buffering, if you can hear me, all the things. Oh my God, shut up. Oh my goodness gracious. Sounds good. All right. Good deal. So we are also over on Kick. Kick is a platform very much like YouTube, but it does not attack like YouTube does, where you can't play anything. We got completely demonetized over on gavel chasers, which is just ridiculous, for reused content. So I'm sure it'll happen here soon as well, which sucks, but it is what it is. What can you do about it? Not much. So Jenny and I are just trying to figure out, okay, what exactly are we going to do now? I don't know. Because you can't, your channel will eventually get taken. So I don't know how many of you understand Kick or know Kick, but it's a very cool platform. We'll do a little tutorial on that later. However, so far, juror number 11 and juror number 4 have spoken out in Karen Reed's case. Today, families at the center of the Karen Reed trial speak out for the first time. I like Kick's chat a lot better too. I do. I think it's much better than this one. So you guys can try it while we're on here so that you can see exactly what's on here, so that except when I blow my own eardrums out like that. Here you go. Because it's live over there as well. So the chat's better. It's just as fast, just as good. It's an app. You can download the app. Super easy. So it's good to see you too. I can't see you, of course, because my video doesn't work. See, just took my video off icon and it said, no, bitch, you no longer have a video. So I don't know. Yeah, you won't get thrown off like you do on here. Hey, Dater. So I don't know. I happen to like Kick better. Glera did a live stream over there a couple nights ago, and I just like it better. So we're going to go over some of these things, which it's been pretty interesting. People are all over juror number 11 because now she follows the defense team. She's following Aiden and a few other people. People are pissed about it. They don't think that she should be doing that, as if it's their business, but whatever. So in order to have fair use, I need to interrupt this, which is, you guys know I hate interrupting on streams. I hate it with a passion, but I don't have any choice because they'll come after me. So here we go. Let's see how this sounds, okay?
At every turn. And yesterday was the final letdown. And that's why we're here, because there's nobody left to stand up for us.
Think real long and hard before you're a witness in a case, because no one protects you. And it's very, very sad.
For the first time, some of the key players in the Karen Read trial sitting down for an exclusive interview. His friend, Jennifer McCabe, and her husband, Matt, former Boston police sergeant Brian Albert, and his wife, Nicole, and his brother, Chris Albert. All five of them pulled into the center of this high-profile case and now speaking out.
And I think the reason we all stayed quiet is because we were just witnesses. This is a thing that we had nothing to do with.
We did the civic duty, came and told the truth, and that's it.
Free Karen Read!
It's the case that has captivated the country and divided a town. Karen Read, accused of killing her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe, hitting him with her SUV and leaving him to die in a blizzard.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Now, after a second trial, a jury acquitting her of the most serious charges, second-degree murder and manslaughter. And hundreds of supporters in pink, Karen Read's favorite color, cheering as the verdict.
So I knew right off the bat that this was going to be a bit disingenuous. It said hundreds of supporters showing up in Karen's, whatever. It wasn't hundreds. They counted. But did they count? Who really knows? They definitely said about 3,000 people were there. So, you know, you never know what you're going to get with the reporters. You never know what they really think until you hear them interviewing some people, right? Yeah. It'll take 100 years to get my birthday and my screen name is taken. You could always put like Nicole B25 or something. I don't know.
It came down yesterday.
I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters.
People turned this thing into a tailgate party, it looked like, some days. Board games, cornhole, cookouts. This is a guy that was murdered, and it's atrocious for that family.
While the prosecutors blamed Read for O'Keefe.
He just said, this is a guy who was murdered. Hello, Chrissy C5. So they're calling it murder, right? They're calling it murder as well. He's saying it's atrocious, it's terrible. Well, that it is. That it is. But the way he's going to frame it is that it's, you know, of course, all Karen's fault here, but
O'Keefe's death, the defense said this group of family members framed Read to cover up what really happened that night. Ever since, their lives becoming open season for endless conspiracy theories.
What they've done is they've dehumanized us to the sense where we're not real people. We're almost like caricatures. We're pawns.
Have each of you been called murderers? Like actual murderers?
Oh, yeah.
I'll say right now, yeah, that's wrong. 100%, right? Should they be called murderers? We don't know for a fact. We have no idea. Should they be threatened and harassed? All the things? No, of course not. But also it's going to happen because this is the world that we live in. So, I mean, is that unfortunate? Yes, but they're going to get to Mr. Albert here and his reasoning for not going out there to help John, which is just, when you guys hear it, I don't know. You might want to throw your fucking phones.
Yeah, on a daily basis.
Anybody who's touched this case has been called a murderer at some point.
And anyone who's friends with us support cop killers. Yeah.
After 3+ years, the saga wrapped up yesterday. Read captured celebrating at dinner with her father, and today seen walking with her attorney, Alan Jackson.
I didn't even know I'd be here today, so I had no plans.
Meanwhile, O'Keefe's family and friends struggling with the verdict.
I'm just sad for John's family and what happened yesterday, and I feel like they didn't get justice for him, and our lives just changed forever.
Why speak out now after the verdict?
We took what we thought was the high road.
Right.
Let the court do its job.
After a night of hanging out at a local bar in a brutal 2022 blizzard, Brian and his wife Nicole hosted a late-night gathering at their home. An invitation had been extended to Read and O'Keefe, but Brian Albert says neither of them ever entered his home that night. O'Keefe was found lying unconscious in the snow of Albert's front lawn. He was pronounced dead at the hospital hours later. The defense's theory? A violent altercation at the Alberts home, possibly involving other members of law enforcement.
Did John ever come in the house?
Never. No.
You never saw John O'Keefe in the house, right?
Never.
Never. Never.
These are people in your own community who believe the conspiracy theories, who believe that there were other law enforcement officials and agents involved in this. Why is it people in your own community who believe these conspiracy theories?
You do realize for this conspiracy to be true, it would take 30 to 50 people. You'd have to have multiple cops on 2 different police departments, multiple civilians, the medical examiner, firemen, EMTs.
Untrue. Untrue. Absolutely not accurate, sir. You wouldn't have to have all of those things. The only thing that you would have to have is an angry proctor who felt like she did this and it could get pinned on the people in the house. Captain, I think that's what I just heard, that you signed up. I heard that little music. I'm like, what the hell was that exactly? That's all you'd have to have. I hate this chair. I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to get comfy here. But if Proctor comes to the scene and he sees this right off the bat, he's hearing from Jen McCabe, it was Karen. He never went in the house. That's all you need. That's all you need for the lead investigator to believe, because he didn't go in and interview them. He did not go in and do anything. He started texting his friends. You know, this bitch with the weird Fall River accent. So I know, right? I'm like, what was that sound? I like that little sound though. Yeah, why didn't you come out of the house? Why didn't you come out of the house? Well, we're going to find out. But I don't like how they're trying to frame this. People do this all the time, right? The argument, it doesn't really hold water. Maybe he never did go into the house. Maybe he never did. Maybe he went to the backyard. Maybe he went to the basement. We'll get to those photos in just a minute of the basement, because the new owners gave permission for people to go take pictures, and they did. So we'll get to that too.
You do realize for this conspiracy to be true, it would take 30 to 50 people.
No.
You'd have to have multiple cops on 2 different police departments, multiple civilians, the medical examiner,
No.
firemen, EMTs, you name it. That's how preposterous and silly this
Would need EMTs. Why would we need EMTs? The EMTs did not say, except the one who couldn't have possibly heard what he allegedly said he heard later, 3 times, then 4 times, maybe 2 times, but we're not sure how many times, because that particular EMT was inside of a closed ambulance. The medical examiner said what? Did the medical examiner say you guys did nothing and he never entered the house? No, that never happened. So why would the medical examiners and the EMTs be in on it? You're trying to add more people on to justify the fact that none of you helped him. You did not.
this is. And great question. I don't understand how people bought this.
Brian Albert says he and Nicole only found out about John's death when Jen McCabe, who is Nicole's sister, barged into their bedroom.
She was just upset, and I immediately thought something had happened to one of her children or one of my children, because why else is she in my bedroom at 6:30 in the morning right now?
And what did she tell you?
She said, John's out front. I think John's dead out front. I said, what the are you talking about, Jen? And I'm like, I didn't know.
You still didn't piece it together.
I didn't understand what she was talking about, because why would John be out front of my house?
So massively confusing. There are police officers, EMTs on your front lawn. You're an officer. Why don't you just go outside and investigate or take a look?
I'm not a...
There's the money question. Hello? Is that not the biggest question? Well, one of the very biggest questions that we've all had for so long Wait till you see the answer. Wait till you fucking see the answer to this.
So massively confusing. There are police officers, EMTs on your front lawn. You're an officer. Why don't you just go outside and investigate or take a look?
I'm not a Canton police officer. I'm a Boston police officer.
What? I don't care if you're a fucking cop from New Jersey who was sleeping over, or a first responder from Washington. What exactly are you talking about right now? You didn't go out because you're a Boston cop and not a Canton cop. Okay, all right.
I was just woken up out of a cold sleep from hanging out the night before. By the time I came downstairs, the police were already in my house.
Okay, by the time I already came downstairs, number one, Jen was out there, your sister-in-law, for quite some time. She didn't run in to see if you and your wife, her sister, were okay. There is a dead friend dying moments from death on your lawn. She doesn't even come in to see if you're okay. By the time she does come in, you're woken up. You might be in your boxer shorts. I don't know. Throw on a pair of sweats and fly out there. You are a first responder cop. It doesn't make any sense. It can never make any sense to me. Even if the police were in your house, by the time you got downstairs, you say, that's a fellow cop. I'm going outside. It's my lawn. This is my house. What the?
John was already gone. There was nobody to save. I would have taken a bullet.
He was gone. Like what? In the ambulance? Because what time did the ambulance drive away compared to what time Coco went inside your house? So was he gone, or do you mean he was already dead? And if you mean he was already dead, he was not pronounced dead yet. So what do you mean he was already gone? Does it mean dead? Or does it mean taken in the ambulance to the hospital? Which one does that mean?
Bullet for John O'Keefe because he was a fellow cop. That's the most ridiculous to save. I would have taken a bullet for John O'Keefe because he was a fellow cop. That's the most ridiculous question that people always ask. It makes zero sense. What am I supposed to do? Run out front in my underwear and start running yellow tape around the fire hydrant?
Over the course of the night, Reed called and texted.
I had not gotten this far yet, okay? Because I wanted to do this with you guys, so no. Yes, you're supposed to run outside. Yes, in your underwear. I don't care what you're in. That is a dying Boston cop on your lawn. If you'd take a bullet for him, you won't take a little cold feet? A little cold up your ass in your underwear? Is this a joke? This is unbelievable.
Texted John 52 times. She then called Jen asking for help to find John. Karen previously telling me she and John had gotten into an argument that night.
Do you see how they're framing this? This guy here? Do you see how this is the piece that he's choosing to take from the interview that he did with Karen? Yeah, even if you're naked. I don't give a shit. Oh, Captain, I didn't even know. Exactly. I can't even go outside. What am I supposed to do? Go outside? Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. You put your fucking blanket on and your house shoes and you run outside. Oh, absolutely, Angela. 1,000,000,000%. I didn't realize how close their bedroom window was. It's literally right there. Literally right there. Not to be confused with Jason F. with a Brandon's underwear. It's unbelievable to me what he's, and now this one here, choosing the argument part, right? The argument part. That's what they're going to put in right now.
Would you say that you were angry with John that night?
Yes.
She's lying.
Could you have been
angry enough and slightly drunk because he had annoyed you that in a fit of rage you just backed up and
Never.
tried to tap him.
Would
Not to
never
try to kill him, but try to...
to tap him with my 6,000-pound full-size SUV, to hit John's body with my car.
Not to kill him, Karen. Listen, you were a little drunk, right? You were a little aggravated. You were a little drunk, and then you backed up to you just tapped him. Is that what you did? You tapped him, sir? Do you realize John died? Do you realize that? So why would you even ask such a moronic question if he just if she just tapped him? What are you, a fucking asshole? Could you have just tapped him? Well, what would tapping him have done? Would it have flung him across the entire lawn, made him spin in the air according to the Commonwealth, broke the taillight into a billion pieces, 47 to be exact, that couldn't be found for weeks? Why would you even ask such a question? You phony bastard, you.
Car? No.
I spoke with a juror tonight who told me she believes a collision did not occur.
Overall, a lot of the evidence had caused reasonable doubt.
Period.
And that was enough for us not to convict.
A little after 6 a.m., Karen found John's body in the snow. Jen called 911.
911, what's your emergency?
There's a man passed out in the snow.
Pause. Can we all look at this right here? There's a man passed out in the snow. Your friend is a Boston cop. He's been referred to as the patron saint of Canton. By all accounts, he's a great human being, a great guy. He's on the lawn of another cop's house. This is what you tell 911? You don't say there's a cop down. We've got a Boston cop on another cop's lawn. I need you here yesterday, right now. Not there's a man passed out in the snow. Is he passed out? So what are you thinking? It's a fucking homeless person. You don't know what you're dealing with as the 911 operator. Are you putting any urgency on getting them there? Anyone? No. Welcome to Kick, y'all. Yeah. There's a guy. This man. He's just passed out. Probably got a little bit too drunk, is all. I can't understand not saying a cop is down. We just found a cop, my friend, John O'Keefe of the BPD, name the Alberts, name anybody, do something. Not this. Yeah, 50 off-duty cops would have shown up. Everybody would have shown up. Because what? I can't with this lady either.
Hello?
But what raised eyebrows at Reed's trial was a defense theory about a Google search Jen had made about how long it takes to die in the cold.
Now here's where we were all taught we're fucking morons. Because if you open a window in Safari and you close it, and then you open another window 4.5 hours later, it saved a search that you made 4 hours later as a search that you made 4 hours previous. Because that's how fucking life works. That's how files work. That's how nothing works. It's how nothing works.
The defense claiming she searched it before O'Keefe's body was found.
So much has been made about that Google search that morning. Was it at 6 a.m. or was it at 6:27 a.m.? How long to die in the cold? What's your answer?
She asked me to do it at outside of Fairview at 6.
No, you said she asked you to Google hypothermia. So why would you put in house long to die in cold instead of hypothermia? House long to die in cold. Who even asked you that? You're a liar, Jen. Look at Chrissy's face over here. He's like, suspicious.
620, whatever it was. Doesn't matter how much I say about it, people will not believe it.
The group also hoping to clear up
Oh
rumors
my God.
regarding the Albert.
Who's that? Oh my goodness gracious, look at this right here. We've seen a cropped tiny picture. Look at who it is. It's the baby. It's Chloe. When did this happen, Lord? It's Chloe, Dina. Huh. Oh my God. Chloe was a very big dog. She absolutely was. She looks a lot younger here. There's no gray. There's nothing. I can't wait to hear this. I cannot even wait to hear this right now.
Albert's dog, Chloe, who had been rehomed after the incident. The defense claimed the dog was involved in O'Keefe's death.
Those wounds were inflicted as the result of a dog attack. Those marks are from teeth.
Period.
They've known for 2 years where Chloe is. The state shared it with them.
So if they wanted to take DNA evidence from Chloe the dog and match it to possible DNA evidence on John O'Keefe, they could have matched it.
Absolutely.
But now with the trial behind them, they say they're still faced with threats against them and their family.
Where was the answer in there of why they got rid of Chloe? Did you hear an answer? Anybody? Did anybody hear an answer to where she went? Because I didn't.
Families, but hope to continue calling this community their home.
You get down, you get depressed, and it's like, but this is the town we grew up in. We didn't do anything wrong. We all contributed to our town. We love our town. Why should we have to go anywhere?
You shouldn't. I don't think they should be forced out of their town. I don't think that they should be harassed. I think that if the FBI and or the DA, which we know Meatball Morrissey's not going to go for that, but I think if they feel as though it was a homicide and Karen was not convicted of it, they can pursue charges against who they can pursue charges against, period. Right? I mean, I don't think that they deserve to be harassed any further. I really don't. No, he asked no fucking questions. He was a clown. Yeah, and they moved. And the best part of that story is that they were given permission now by the new owners of 34 Fairview to go all through that house. And they did. So that's really good. All right, let's see the TMZ interview here.
On murder and
or not. Hello. All right.
manslaughter. Was it because they had reasonable doubt or because they thought she was innocent?
So I think for the jurors, there's a mix of some people think that she was definitely innocent, and the other people, there was a lot of reasonable doubt, at least to where we didn't want to convict her.
That's really interesting. So could you give me a breakdown there? Roughly what percentage of the jury felt she was innocent?
I mean, I can only speak for myself. I think that she was innocent. It's hard to tell exactly what people think deep down. There was a lot of things thrown at us, of evidence. So it's hard to tell what's really.
So you say in your head she was innocent. Does that mean you think she was framed by people inside that house?
It doesn't necessarily mean that. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to John.
Exactly. We don't know what happened to John. Nobody knows what happened to John. I wish, I would pray that the FBI report would be released at this point, but who knows? But there's so much to catch up on. Like I said earlier, we were demonetized on my other channel. We're still going to be on the other channel regardless. But due to that, I have to be very careful when replaying content over here. So I have to give commentary. So
really, I was only presented a limited scope of what happened at the night, and I could only base my opinion off of the evidence that was shown in the courtroom. So I don't really know if there was a cover-up or not. I know that's the big conspiracy about it, but I don't really know. All I know is that there was a lot of holes in the investigation. Whether they were deliberate holes or not deliberate holes, it's kind of hard from me sitting back to know that, what actually happened.
So what was the feeling of the jury? Because Alan Jackson and the other lawyers raised the issue that she was framed by cops and that they would have turned that house upside down if they really wanted to do an honest investigation, and that he was not hit by a car. He was attacked in that house, bitten by a dog, and then put outside to frame her. Did people on the jury, or some of them, buy that argument?
I think some of them bought that argument. It's just hard to tell, though, because whether or not we think that there was malicious intent, we were only presented with the facts that they didn't go into the house. So, you know, there's an example of reasonable doubt. So, like, there's other examples of reasonable doubt. So even if you want to completely buy into the theory or not, that wasn't what we were tasked with. We were tasked with finding.
There's always been a civil suit, and we'll go over that in just a second. But they had to hold off because she was in the second criminal trial. But yes, there is a civil suit. Oh boy, I'll read you that in a minute.
Convicting or, you know, deciding on this person's fate based on the proof and the evidence that the Commonwealth was able to present. And, you know, there was a lot of holes in the investigation.
Yet you went many steps beyond that because you say, in your view, she was innocent. What compels you to think that?
Well, one thing that I think that compels me is we did a lot of review of the tapes, and it seemed to me that the videos that we could see from the car after the alleged incident happened, that when we could see the taillight, it was lit up red where it shouldn't just have been red. So that leads to me a conclusion.
What? What did you just say, sir?
Lit up red where the videos that we could see from the car after the alleged incident happened, that when we could see the taillight, it was lit up red where
it was lit up red. We all saw it. We all looked at the same thing here. We all saw with our eyes, and people tried to tell us we weren't seeing what we were actually seeing. It almost makes you feel a little bit crazy. Like, no, I'm looking at it going on the tow truck. I'm looking at it driving out of John's. I can see with my eyes. But no? What do you mean no?
it shouldn't just have been red. So that leaves me a conclusion of, well, how come it's red in this video after the alleged, collision happened, and then it's, it's not, it doesn't have any red pieces where it should be red.
So in other words, you do not believe that SUV made contact with John O'Keefe?
I don't believe that the SUV collided with John O'Keefe.
What was the initial vote with the jury when you first took your vote?
We didn't do an initial straw poll. The judge recommended to us in the courtroom that is not a good way to do it. We broke down, what we did is we broke down each charge, and we went from top to bottom and discussed everything thoroughly, and, did our best to do right by, the Karen Reed and the Commonwealth.
Was there a division initially?
Yeah, there was a division. But that's what we're there to deliberate and talk about all the evidence. There was 2 months of us sitting there, them throwing all this information at us absorbing the information, going home, thinking about it, reviewing it in our heads, and we finally get to the deliberations, and now we have an opportunity to discuss. Some people went into the deliberations and they were still unsure after two months, and that makes sense because there was a lot of things going on. There's a lot of information. How much can you weigh one thing or another thing over?
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. What about jurors who felt initially she was guilty? Were there any of them?
Yeah, there were a few jurors that think that had thought that initially when they went into the deliberations, that was their standpoint, and that's what we were there to do, to talk through all that and bring up every single piece of evidence. Is there an angle of reasonable doubt to where we're not really sure? Like, are you really sure? Are you 100%, or are you 99.9%? If you're that 99%, we can't convict you.
Yeah, that's somebody's life you're messing with. If you're 99%, Paula, Juror 11's been everywhere. She's been on a ton of interviews so far, and they're already going after her on X. It's just what it is. What can you do about it?
Brought the ones who felt she was guilty over to the not guilty side. Was there anything in particular that seemed to resonate with them?
It's hard to tell from my position. You'd have to ask them about it. But in my opinion, I think it was just due to the poor investigation. There's just too many holes, and you know, it's hard to prove that the collision happened. So if there's reasonable doubt that that happened, or that there may have been foul play, you know, if there's room for that, then it's hard to come to a guilty verdict.
What happened when the jury initially said they had a verdict and then said, oops, no, we don't, and then 15 minutes later they said, oh, we do? What happened there?
That actually is kind of interesting. So the envelope, it was sealed and it's locked away. It'll never be looked at. But on everything on that initial slip was the same as the slip that was presented.
But why did they pull it back?
The pulling the back was for the OUI charge.
Driving under the influence, essentially, drunk driving.
Yes, driving under the influence. We in our deliberations, we had decided there was enough evidence and proof that she was driving under the influence. And
So, how did the defense do?
I still don't understand why they pulled it back, but it is what it is. I'm sorry, Jenny. I missed everything. Tater and Pixie and Skilo knew. The little bastards, they didn't tell you. I don't understand what that meant. Why? Why? What's going on? Also, Ian Runkle will have on, I think tonight, Yannetti and Alessi in an interview. So that's going to be great. Don't feel terrible, Gavel.
How did the lawyers do, in your view? Her lawyers.
For her lawyers specifically, I think they all did. I think that all the lawyers on both sides did a really good job. You know, they presented their case as well.
The police, you say the investigation was poor. The defense said it was more than poor, it was corrupt, and they pointed to the lead detective who had been fired, didn't testify in your trial. Did that have an impact? And did you think it was a corrupt police investigation?
Do I think it was a corrupt police investigation? I don't know. There's no way for me to know. I wasn't there. There was just, there was holes in the case that left for reasonable doubt. I think they could have checked some boxes or you know, done some things differently. But do I know that they were corrupt? Absolutely not. I don't know that there was any corruption going on. But do I know that there wasn't enough proof or evidence secured by the police to convict Karen Reed? Absolutely not. There was not.
There's none.
Fair to say,
period,
that your view was that her SUV did not make contact with O'Keefe, therefore she did not kill him, but you don't know how he died.
I would say that's fair to say. I don't know how John O'Keefe died, and I do not believe that there was a collision between the SUV and John O'Keefe.
Did all of the hoopla around the case, the people outside, did it give you comfort in reaching a verdict like this, that you saw there was a community behind your point of view, or was it irrelevant?
Honestly, that made the pressure a lot harder, and it did not give me comfort. It made it a lot harder to block out everything and come to a decision.
Why did it make it harder?
It made it harder because all of the eyes are on us. We were told we're the most important people in the courtroom, and you know, they keep us away from the crowds of people in the front of the courthouse, but we do see them, and I don't think that having all those people swayed me to go either way. We were only tasked with looking at the evidence. We were 12 jurors. We had to back up how we felt in this for our decision, and we couldn't let any outside factors, her punishment. We couldn't factor any of that. We had to look at the evidence that was presented to us, absorb it, really understand it, and see if there's any reasonable doubt. And there was.
There you go. And there was. Okay. So, I am speaking with the Jenner juror first thing. And the first thing she asked me is why I called her that. I responded, because you were pretty like the Kardashians. I love Jess too much. I love her so much. Her Substack is awesome. And I already posted a video about her, this juror. This is juror number 11. Her her interview with Jess. So that's great. We move this up to 6 p.m. tonight. Make sure you can watch everything. Set a reminder. So LTL is going to speak with Nathan. Here's that. Let's see here. Open Diagnostics, a Massachusetts-based polling and market research firm, conducted a scientific, statistically representative poll of 1,170 people in Norfolk County. Guilty 6%, not guilty, reasonable doubt, not guilty, totally innocent, or unsure. Very interesting. Now, Reed is not likely to be found liable in a civil trial. Preponderance liable 7%, preponderance not liable 68%, unsure, unfamiliar 25%. So O'Keefe killed by someone else 64%. Evidence was planted 63%. Some injuries caused by a dog 61%. Some injuries caused by a vehicle 11%. Investigation full and fair 9%. All right, so let me show you the this was the photo of all of them with her parents and the interns and stuff. It's a big team, man. It's a dream team. And that's the cover I used right there from the Boston Herald. Speaking of which, here's the Boston Herald. We'll get to the civil thing in a second. So I think this is an opinion piece by Howie Carr. And it's not short, but we'll read a little bit of it because he is going to have people on today. And maybe we can all make it over there. With the spectacle of the Karen Reed trial finally over, attention now turns to the fallout, especially within the Massachusetts State Police. So let me say this too about Howie Carr. He is very much like Turtle Boy, very much like Aiden, as far as he's a pit bull with a bone as well. He's somebody who will not give up on this story now. He'll just keep going and going and going and going. He really will. So I think that's going to be interesting to watch as this goes down the road, how much he puts out about this stuff. So this here, this is by a guy named Flint McColligan with contribution, I guess, with Howie. But the events of the last 3 years have challenged our department to thoroughly review our actions and take concrete steps, says MSP Colonel Jeffrey Noble. So he wrote this in a statement distributed by the agency. Those steps he wrote are to deliver advanced investigative training and ensure appropriate oversight and enhance accountability. Those are all fluff words for stop paying attention to us. Okay. Under my direction as colonel, the state police has and will continue to improve in these regards. Our focus remains on delivering excellent police services that reflect the value of professionalism and maintain public trust. Let me tell you something. The Mass State Police are some of the most arrogant, aggressive, and I mean, I guess in some cases they really do need to be, but for no reason at all, for fucking tint on your windows. They'll take your car and make you walk home. Like, they are really fuckheads. Okay. Number 4, we just watched number 4. Juror number 4 was the guy. Juror number 11 is the one being harassed, which is Paula. She was being harassed on Twitter. So allegedly she deleted it and then she reopened it and she said she's going to say what she says. And if you don't like it, she's not arguing with your ass, and leave her be. Okay. We know all of this stuff. We know all of these things already. The trial. Okay. First, Governor Maura Healey appointed Noble. P.S. People think Maura Murray and Maura Healey are the same person. Oh, people are so nutty. That's a whole thing going around. It went around years ago and it's back again, which is bonkers to me. But Okay. Yes, they do kind of look similar, but stop. Okay. Maura Murray's family's been through enough. All right. Maura Haley appointed Noble, who was previously with the New Jersey State Police, as the head of the agency. Second Trooper Michael Procta, the case officer in the O'Keefe death investigation, was fired. In the firing document, the MSP explicitly pointed to inappropriate behavior in the O'Keefe investigation as the reason. The two things are not necessarily directly correlated, as Proctor's sequence of discipline fell under the tenure of 3 agency leaders. His investigation took place in 2022 when Colonel Christopher Mason ran the agency. He was placed under internal review in March of 2024, relieved of duty the day of the mistrial, and suspended without pay a week later, all under the lead of Colonel John Mon Jr. Then came the trial boards and Proctor's ultimate termination, which occurred under Noble. What is linked, however, is the level of scrutiny the agency now faces following the public unraveling of its investigative conduct during the trial. 2 MSP investigators suffered humiliating cross-examination over Proctor. Sergeant Yuri Buchanan, who was Proctor's supervisor, was grilled on his subordinates' actions. Buchanan and his own boss, Brian Tully, were also placed under internal investigation at one point, though only Proctor faced serious repercussions. The fallout from the flaws of the investigation was not just reflected in the verdict, but also in the opinion by public and observers. A poll by a firm called Open Diagnostics found that 78% of the 1170 eligible jurors in Norfolk County believe Reed to be innocent of manslaughter, etc., etc. We just read all of that over on Justice. Let's see. All right. The civil case. Now the Karen Reed's criminal trial for the murder of John O'Keefe has ended, with her acquittal on all charges except drunk driving. The O'Keefe family's civil case against her can continue. That's according to the October 31st, 2024 ruling by Plymouth Superior Court Judge William M. White Jr. that paused the civil case under the criminal trial until the criminal trial concluded. Although White's order anticipated a January 27th criminal trial start, the date scheduled at that time, the stay remained in place when the trial ultimately began in April. The criminal trial concluded Wednesday with a decisive win. So, the civil here. All right. The civil case has plodded along with the confines imposed by White's order staying the proceedings. There have been a dozen entries on the docket since then, running through April 10, when jury selection was still ongoing in Reed's criminal trial. The last entry was the judge postponing depositions of Reed's parents and sister-in-law until after the criminal trial. A civil proceeding has a much lower bar for jurors or a judge to find in favor of the plaintiff. While criminal convictions require proof beyond a reasonable doubt, civil cases only need a preponderance of the evidence, meaning more than 50% certainty to find in the plaintiff's favor. Paul O'Keefe, the younger brother of John, and other members of the family filed a wrongful death lawsuit last August against Reed and 2 of the bars where Reed and O'Keefe drank just ahead of his death. The suit alleges the same events as the criminal prosecutors, that Karen and O'Keefe argued into the midnight hour of January 29, 2022, that O'Keefe got out of Reed's vehicle at 34 Fairview Road in Canton, and that Reed, in a state of intoxication, drove her SUV into O'Keefe, who then suffered serious injury and died. At all relevant times, defendant Reed knew that it was snowing, knew that there was an impending blizzard, and knew or should have known that leaving JJ, his nickname, outside in a blizzard would likely result in serious injury or death, the suit alleges. The suit also names defendant C.F. McCarthy's and the waterfall where Reed and O'Keefe drank ahead of the alleged killing. The complaint alleges that the bars negligently served alcohol to an intoxicated person, namely defendant Reed. The Herald reached out to the family's attorney, Mark Diller, on Wednesday for comment on the case or any comment from the O'Keefes, but did not receive a response by late Thursday afternoon. While Reed did not testify at her criminal trial, as is her right, the plaintiff have power to depose her for the civil trial. And how she handles that can be pivotal, as a misstep could be very damaging to the defendant in a civil case where the burden of proof is already very low, says retired Superior Court Judge Jackson Liu. Reed probably, but not certainly, retains her Fifth Amendment privilege not to testify. But if she does so, the jury is allowed to draw an adverse inference against her. If the defendant does not take the Fifth and testifies at her deposition, she can be questioned for days about the events. This can be very hurtful for the defense. On the other hand, Boston-based attorney William Kickham says Reed's win in her criminal trial could help her. Given the verdict of not guilty on the murder or manslaughter charge, I think the prospect of a win in the civil case will be made extremely challenging. With all the criminal trial concluded, the civil case will now proceed, which is just going to be crazy to me. Well, keep in mind, we raised, all that money. She's got, 1.1 million? I don't know where that's at now, or if they've already dispersed it to the professionals, or what exactly has happened with any of that money. I have no idea. But they'll garnish, they'll go after future earnings, that kind of stuff. Grasping at tries, just trying to see the bars. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be good, though. Absolutely. Did anybody watch TV? He said he lied about why they moved Paul's seat at trial. He said jurors complained that Paul was eyeballing female jurors sexually. What? I had no idea. But what I do know is he has signed with a film company. So has Yannetti and Alessi, several other people as well. I don't think Jackson or Karen have yet or what that's going to look like, but they're doing a documentary first. It should be out by the end of the year. And then they're doing a movie. This is the same company that did the Whitney Houston movie and did Bohemian Rhapsody. So that's going to be pretty interesting. And they said some of the names that have been thrown out are just wild. Turtle Boy's like, well, what? So we'll see. I don't know. Even though she was not convicted. I don't know what that whole question is. Hopes. It was said yesterday by Kelly Reed that any leftover money was going to an advocacy group. Well, she may need it for the civil case. I mean, she's going to have an attorney for that as well. So I don't know. But here's Kelly Reed right here. Right? Kelly Reed. House much the trials cost taxpayers. Now this is Howie, so you'll see the tone change here. How much have all these insane kangaroo court trials cost the taxpayers of Massachusetts? How much are we out for Norfolk County DA Michael Meatball Morrissey's obsession with framing Karen Reed for a murder she obviously did not commit? not to mention his other obsession with putting Aiden Turtle Boy Kearney behind bars for the crime of exercising his First Amendment rights. $2 million, $3 million, $5 million? And for what? This wasn't just about justice. It was about just us. The Hackorama protecting itself and all their pals. First in the line of cover-up for the Sandra Birchmore murder. Fact. Sandra Birchmore murder, and then during the failed frame-up of Karen Reed. We need to file a public record request with Meatball's office asking for a complete accounting of what all these miscarriages of justice have cost the town. Just for starters, there was the special mob mouthpiece, Hank Brennan. He's on the books for $250,000, but surely he's made way more than that. Remember, Meatball has dozens of prosecutors on his regular state payroll. None of them could have handled the job, or did they not want to take on the task because they knew how awful the case was? In addition to Brennan, Meatball's courtroom team included last year's bust-out prosecutor, chain-smoking loser Adam Lally at $150,000, Elizabeth McLaughlin at $142,000. Great use of our tax dollars, Meatball. Then you have experts from Aperture, Dr. Man Group, oh my God, and the Peckerwood from Alabama, who's been trying to get his bachelor's for 17 years. These two clowns cost Norfolk County another $400,000. And remember, the feds already gave Meatball 3,000 pages of their investigation of the incompetent police investigation, including a study by the best accident reconstructionist expert in the nation, ARCA. But ARCA proved conclusively that John O'Keefe hadn't been hit by a car. So Meatball threw out their report. He didn't want it because he was looking to give Karen Reed an old-fashioned Norfolk County necktie party, just like Freddie Welshel or Sacco and Vanzetti got. In America, as opposed to Norfolk County, the prosecutor would have studied the Fed's report and concluded, as did the jury, that whatever or whoever killed John O'Keefe was not Karen Reed's Lexus. Meatball's experts were so laughably bad that Brennan didn't even bring them back for rebuttal. At the end, he just threw in the towel. But what did Meatball care? It wasn't his money that he was squandering. It was ours. The Commonwealth brought in another top dollar hired gun expert. They all had one thing in common. They were idiots. Remember the guy who didn't know the temperature at which water rose? I can't. I wonder how much he was paid. What about all the junkets Meatball shady police detectives got to take in search of something? I believe there was at least one nice trip to California to meet with a former friend of Karen's. Then there was that reported trip to Vermont to see the McAlberts rehome dog Chloe. And if you believe that one, I've got oh, never mind. Morrissey State Police investigation left no stone unturned except the one the real killers were hiding under. If you want to hide something real good, just stick it in one of Meatball Morrissey's law books. Let's move to Turtle Boy's persecution. To put the blogger away, Meatball has hired at least two more of his special hack cronies, persecutors, including the retired hack judge with 2 state pensions worth $203,000 a year. There's also a PI in the mix. One by one, their cases against Turtle Boy are getting laughed out of court. And how about all the cops' rubber ducky investigations? How much did they all cost? To no avail and for no reason. But that's just the start of what Morrissey needs to be asked about. In the summer of 2023, he videotaped a statement almost 6 minutes long. He defended the frame-up, and it hasn't aged well, to put it mildly. Among the incredible whoppers Meatball threw out was that Michael Proctor had no close personal relationship and no conflict in his relationship with fellow lifer loser Canton townies, the McAlberts. Interesting, Mr. District Attorney. Does Proctor solicit a gift for his wife from the McAlberts after he lugs Karen Reed constitute a conflict? Jeez, I hate all of these tiny little fucking columns here. Morrissey also said of the Canton cabal, pointing the finger at Karen, they should not be harassed for telling the government what they know, or in the case of so many of them, telling the government what they didn't know, sometimes under oath. The internet, Meatball lectured, has no punishment for perjury, nor does Norfolk County, apparently. The only time the witnesses seemed to tell the truth was when the feds subpoenaed them up to the courthouse on Northern Ave, where they were informed of the pains and penalties of perjury. After releasing a video statement, Meatball has since claimed he couldn't expand on his comments because, ongoing investigations. They're over now. One last question for Meatball. One of ex-Governor Charlie Baker's old pollsters took a poll last night after the verdict. So he goes on to talk about that. One final question for Boston Police Department, for which the victim worked honorably for many years. In February of 2022, the superintendent-in-chief of the BPD was a good pal of the McAlberts named Greg Long. Like the Albert cops, Long lived in Canton because, of course, he did. Because, of course, he did. Long's wife is a hack state judge, like Beverly Cannoni, because, of course, she is. Here's the official statement of the BPD after Karen Reed, an innocent woman, was lugged in and handcuffed to a jailhouse radiator. Quote, today, the Mass State Police and the Norfolk County DA's office arrested the person responsible for John's death. End quote. Really? Whatever happened to innocent until proven guilty? Isn't that the law of the land, except in Norfolk County and it appears Boston? So where does Karen Reed go now to get her good name back? Certainly not to Norfolk District Attorney's Office or to the BPD. Fact. Fact. Kelly Deaver. Kelly Deaver. DVD. Don't you call her Kelly Deaver. Call her Kelly Denver. How about that? That's a great name for her. Kelly Asshole. All right, hold on. Shall we look at the photos? We shall. I think we shall. Let me look at it on Turtle Boys. Actually, I can probably get it bigger over there. Okay. So, this is cuckoo, but remember the mark on John's head? The back of the mark, the back of his head mark there. Let's see. I don't know if I can pull this up, but it doesn't want to let me. Let's see here. There it is. There it is. This is what we wanted to see right here. Hold on, I gotta go all the way down and find it. Lord God. Poor John, man. Jesus Christmas. Okay. Mark right there. They're alleging that this here, like if you flip around, I guess. Let's see the other one. Yeah, see, so the guy, I don't know who this is. Is this Jackson? I can't tell who it is, but they have nice shoes on, a little bit of hair on the arms, and black hair. I almost felt like it could have been Jackson, but I have no idea. Anyway, there's this. Gym equipment. I have no idea. I don't know. What is Deedle saying? Yeah, McAlbert's on Dateline. I call her a negative B who can't pronounce garage. Oh, no. Oh. So does it match? I have no idea because I can't see it. You know, we can see what we can see here, but, you know, you can't really see anything. But it is very interesting to me that they were able to get into their garage, right? So that is really quite interesting. Hold on, I'm going to tell you exactly. This was last night, right? Oh my God, he went for a really long time last night. Jeez Louise. All right, hold on here. I'm looking for something in the transcript because I don't want to misquote it, really, on exactly what he said about all of this. So, find on screen. All right, here we go. Boop. Where the hell did it just go, you ass ant? Okay, so all right, let's see this for those of you who didn't tune in last night.
So, anyway, it's been a wild ride, man. It's been an absolutely wild ride. So yeah, that documentary is going to suck. That documentary is going to be no bueno. So I see everybody in the comments talking about these garage pictures. So I just posted the garage pictures before. Now that the trial's over, I feel comfortable sharing these. Okay. So I don't know what this means. And maybe we need to bring up the Dr. La Posada. Whatchamacallit, the Dr. La Posada testimony. But these pictures are from the garage. And I believe they were taken in like July or August of 2023. I'm not entirely sure. The homeowners at 34 Fairview support Karen Reed. Okay. I've met her before. She's a nice lady. She feels betrayed because they did not Ravis Realty, the McAlbert Realtors of America that support the McAlbert murderers.
Yes.
They did not tell the new homeowner that, oh yeah, you're moving into a house that's like going to be a tourist attraction. All right. But so she's allowed Karen attorneys and private investigator full access to the house. Full access.
Interesting.
And this picture is from the garage. Okay. Now, I don't know what this means. I don't know if they tested it. I don't know. But there's like a ridge right here, apparently. And I'm not 100% sure of this, but when Dr. La Posada testified, I got to bring up that exchange. Like, I want to say Alan Jackson asks her about,
excuse me,
is there anything like in the garage that matches up with, because remember she said,
remember that part that Dr. La Posada said? I don't know if he plays this. I tuned out and went to bed, but I had no idea that he went this long. My God. Here we go. Here we go. Right here.
Hopefully it's a good clip. Audio. We good? Want to forget anyone? Of course.
He had some little like granularity to it with each little sort of granule making
Resistance to silence. Tom CPU.
Pattern having the major point of impact.
The ridge pattern.
What is the significance of the pattern when you say ridged pattern and there's two things we're looking at, the laceration or the abrasion versus the defect above and below that laceration?
And so what this injury tells me, what I would tell the investigators, is that Mr. O'Keefe went back onto some object that had some sort of ridge to it to make that horizontal tear in the skin, but that ridge also it wasn't smooth. It had some little grainy grainy things sticking up on it. It would make each of them these little things, and then it's the job of the police then to go back to the scene.
Okay, so I got that part, but I'm looking for.
Yeah, he's looking for that other part.
Looking for the part about the like where he hints about the garage. I'm almost.
He definitely.
Thank you for trying, but I'm looking specifically. Asked for the part about the garage. Don't.
Let me see if I can find it. And Hank immediately objects. So maybe they never got to it last night. Yeah, it doesn't look like he got to it or was able to find it. I don't think. Yeah, I don't see it. So, the wood behind the concrete. I don't know. Let's see. See here? I don't know. I mean, all we got here is this. See? So, I don't know. It's hard to, I hope, maybe, oh, wait a minute, 220/27.
Area of 34 Fairview?
The outside, yes.
Meaning photographs?
Yes.
Did you also see photographs of any significance to you related to the garage, the interior of the garage?
Sustained. Jurors disregard that comment, that
So she denied.
That question.
What part of the area did you see? What part did you see photographs of any significance to you related to the garage, the interior of the garage?
Sustained. Jurors disregard that comment, that question.
What part of the area did you see? What part of the
that's my
location did you see?
I saw all the scene photographs taken by the police, which showed the front yard in the area where Mr. O'Keefe was found. I also saw some photographs of the inside of the
the house and the inside of. So I'm going to stop you there, Dr. Lapasada. Jurors, I'm striking anything after what the pictures from outside, Mr. Jackson.
Do you see that? Anything other than outside. But they were pursuing a third-party defense. I just don't get it. I don't understand Bev at all. I don't think I ever will. I think she is one of the absolute worst people that I've encountered in a hell of a long time. But Karen Reed is freed. She's freed, friends. So it's going to be interesting to go over to Howie's. Does somebody have Lindsay? Let me see here. Howie Cashel. So you can go over to Howie Care. But let's see here. I'm guessing he's going to be on Facebook because he doesn't do much at all on YouTube. Howie. Let me see here. Howie Care. Come on, buddy. Trying to pull it up, but let me see. Yeah, definitely. So he's actually live right now. So hold on. Let me show you that. Facebooky. I understand. Let's proceed. I'll allow that.
Party to a natural date where it is going to take care of itself.
The proof is when you stop taking it, you're not quite what you were physically. Are available now wherever you get your.
I don't know what the hell's going on there, but here's the link. So one of the jurors is going to be on there. Let's see. Karen Reed, Juror Paula Prado joins Howie Ka from must-hear interview at 2:05. Listen on X, Facebook, or Rumble. Oh. Not on... Oh. Where am I getting all these fucking ads? Shut the hell up. Look at that. There they are. There they are. And if you don't, if you're not a Howie Kyle listener, he's something. He is definitely something.
Aliens have been arrested.
In Russian or Ukrainian, his first two languages.
There he is.
617, my heart feels like an alligator. So does mine. 844-500-4242.
He's got quite the accent. He is definitely no holds barred on anything that he talks about. If you think that Turtle Boy's something, Howie's something else. So, yeah, she's brave. She definitely is. But, I mean, the other guy did too, Juror 4 and 11, so. Is she off again, Deets? God darn it, all to hell and back. Hold on. Damn it. So they got her back off again. I know she was off once, but I thought she came back like this morning. No? Maybe not. What in the actual fucking fuck? Yeah, my whole computer froze on that one. Did you see that? Like, what even is that, bro? Don't come on, will you please? Lord God. Exactly. Jurors aren't required to know nothing about a case. Sheesh. So, what was it? Karen Reed juror. Trial 2 juror explains why it's important to speak out. I'm going to share the screen with you guys now that I have it up. Let's see what she says.
And I've been watching his family over this past 2 months, and I know I can't imagine what they're going through. And as much as I'm confident that we did the right thing and she's not guilty, I feel sorry that justice wasn't served to John O'Keefe and John O'Keefe's family. And it's the reason why I'm coming out and talking to people is to keep the flame going and the supporters going after the DA or whatever they have to do to reopen the case and find who really killed John O'Keefe.
You were visibly emotional as you left the courtroom. You were in tears. But why? Why were you so emotional as you left? Because I'm a mother and I've...
All right, so we saw that. Now, so she was on here under this. This was the other thing I wanted to read. It was under... Was it under Jess? No. Hold on. Hold on. There was something else I wanted to read that was allegedly John DiPietro, whatever the fuck his name is there, said that he got an interview with Juror 17, who was an alternate, okay? So that's this here. I'm going to read it to you. Is it true? Do we know if it's true? I have no idea, but Juror 17, alternate, interview with Johnson DiPietro. I was not a deliberating juror, so I can't speak to what the 12 jurors were told. As for being an alternate, I have to confess to being very let down when Jim called my number. He called 3 other numbers before number 17. I thought I was going to get through, but what can you do? Luck of the draw. 6 of us had alternates. How would you have voted? I would have voted not guilty for all charges except maybe the OUI. I think she was drunk in the morning. They tested her in the AM, but that doesn't prove she was drunk when she left the bar, but because she could have easily gone home and drank. How was Hank Brennan? Hank was very focused, very determined. He did a great job at crossing Sergeant Barrows. He definitely tripped him up and got him confused on the pictures. But at times, Hank came across as just rude, saying over here to witnesses was way over the line. And the thing with the holes in the back of the hoodie, that really hurt his credibility. How was blue paint? Are these questions that he actually asked him? Oh, what the fuck? Okay. How was blue paint? Honestly, my head was spinning. I thought it was a joke. I couldn't believe a forensic expert would do something so silly. All it did was demonstrate that if you intentionally put your bare skin against wet paint, that paint will transfer to your skin. I don't know how anyone could think that was a smart thing for the prosecution to show. What was wrong with the case? There were some glaring holes for the prosecution, to name a few. Hank kept portraying KR's statements at the scene as an admission, But that doesn't add up. If KR admitted to killing a cop, why didn't any of the cops on the scene arrest her or even detain and question her or put it in their reports? There's an officer down and there's a woman yelling her admissions for emergency responders to hear, but by coincidence, not a single cop heard it or thought it to write it down. That's odd, right? No consistent explanation for injuries. No medical doctors would say that a car was involved. If he was on the lawn from 12:30 to 6 a.m., where was the frostbite? The state just ignored this. Why? I'm not a true crime guy. I don't know about other murder trials, but maybe you do, John. Is it normal for the state to charge someone with murder when their own medical examiner can't or won't call it a homicide? Is it normal for the state not to call the main detective? Now consider, is it normal for both of these things to happen in a murder trial? Common sense says no way. That's massive doubt. Who is this guy? Is this true that this actually happened? I don't know. What did the defense do well? Defense did a good job of establishing reasonable doubt, especially with Trooper Buchanan. He was so defensive. I kept asking myself, why are the police so defensive or evasive here and not just Buchanan? Who were the good witnesses? The scientists from Arca were convincing, and when they were cross-examined, they didn't get defensive or snippy, contrast with so many of the witnesses for the prosecution. Brian Loughran was maybe the most convincing. Lucky, at least for me. He was born in Norwood when JFK was president, and I have lived in Mass for my whole life. I've shoveled more driveways than I care to remember. If there was a body laying on an inch or two of snow just off the road, there's no way the plow driver would miss it, right? Unless the plow guy was drunk or had skipped his route. Who are the bad witnesses? Jen McCabe. Too many things didn't make sense, especially she forgot who she called when those other agents asked her. Kerry Roberts. She kind of admitted to lying at the grand jury. She said she didn't do it on purpose, but still it made me wonder, why is the state calling someone who lied at the grand jury? Boston cop Deaver. She didn't want to answer anything. Haha. It's kind of funny in hindsight, but at the same time made me think, why is a policewoman so reluctant to whether or not there were cameras at a police station? Oh my God. How were the Karen clips to you? I didn't give them much weight. The police didn't do anything with her contemporaneous statements that morning. So what would it matter years later, in my opinion? How do you think John died? I don't know. But what I do know is that the state could not back up their theory. For heck's sake, Hank even said something like, we don't know what happened, but we have a good idea. I wrote that down at the time, like, yikes, we have a good idea? The state needs more than a good idea to convict for murder, right? It was an ocean of reasonable doubt to me. None of the injuries added up with the state's suggestions. If he had been drilled by the car, he should have had more injuries. If he was just clipped and spun around and stumbled and fell on the lawn, he wouldn't have fallen hard enough to crack his head open. They never reconciled that for me. They seemed to just leave it open. Like maybe it was a combo of those strikes and then the marks on his arm. To me, it's extremely unlikely that you could get such parallel lines in the chaos of shattered taillight. But most of all, how could there be no trace of John on any of the pieces? Dozens of taillight pieces, scratched, gouged skin, yet not a single taillight piece had any human material. More doubt, honestly. All right. It honestly would have been more believable if they said Karen got out of her car with a hammer and attacked John. The claw part of the hammer could have made those marks, and the ball part could have cracked his skull. Lexus data backing up. I wasn't sure what weight to give the Lexus data. Example, 75% accelerator pedal. Interesting, yes. But there was no definitive time link to it because of the conflicting theories of the time drift. And speaking of drift, Mr. Burgess' graduation date drifted quite a bit, man. That was tough to watch. Did somebody make this up? Is this a parody? It can't be true. This can't be actually accurate, right? Am I cuckoo? There's no fucking way that he just said that. Oh, I cannot. Wait. This is a parody. It has to be. And speaking of drift, Mr. Burgess' graduation stage. I don't believe it. Get the fuck out of here with this shit. All right, let's see. Oh, goodness gracious. Cell phone temperature for John's phone. State essentially said maybe it was under John's shoulder outside all night. Defense said maybe it was in a garage from 12:30 to 5. Competing maybes equals doubt. Hank said she backed up, hit him, and left. Why was he wrong? We never got any real evidence of a collision. Again, no medical doctor said he had injuries consistent with a vehicle strike. Yes, Hank said she hit him. Okay, but Hank's statements aren't evidence. Lawyers say a lot of things. Can't take what either lawyer said at face value. What did you think of Dr. Wolf, the brain surgeon? Super accomplished guy, very slick. Made me think of Rat Pack cavorting in Miami. Didn't help prove a collision, though. Oh my God, this is absolutely hysterical. I don't believe that this was real, though. It couldn't be. Hold on here. Let me go to John's fucking John DiPietro, whatever the hell your name is there. Oh, that was funny. He's live right now. Please tell me. The jury speaks coming up. All right, let's see here. What are you up to, John? You absolute nutty man, you. Oh, 2 hours ago. He's been tweeting all damn morning, ain't he? Let me get to the... Come on. Ban judge for saying this. Oh, Jack Lou. Okay. Oh, shut up. I don't see anything. Do you see anything? Like, why are people lying about this? Is this real or not real? I have no idea. Why is Grant trending? I don't know. Yeah, we don't have any trauma in there at all. Nothing. A Brazilian Karen Reed juror believes. What? Why the fuck do you have to say she's a Brazilian, you clown ass? She didn't understand much of the testimony. Is that right? Okay. 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 This poor woman's been bullied to shit then. I have another juror I'm communicating with. Details soon, plus more from alternate juror. Okay. So he did interview the alternate juror. I just don't even know what to say at this fucking point. Are you kidding me right now? So those are the questions he asked? What? John. I don't know. This is ridiculous. He said Burgess's degree. I can't. She has been bullied. Oh my God. I can't do it. I cannot. What's he live talking about? Let me see. Why? So what he said was, why did people and why did Karen, why did they instruct people to harass Colin? Why? Shut up, John. You guys lost. It's over, friend. And it's over. It's just fucking over, okay? No more for you, sir. On to Beckerhead. Oh my goodness. Is John D one of those guys that everyone lets pretend to? I don't think so. Let's see. He has a website. DePetro.com tells it like it is. He has I don't know. Let's see here. Let me see here. Let's see. All right. Meet John. I know. Why do you have ads, motherfucker? So AM 1380, 99.9 FM. AKA Juan. John is the creator and host of Road Patrol Live. Breaking news. All right. He's a Northeast award-winning talk show host recognized by Talkers Magazine as top 100 in the country. He provided commentary for Court TV on the recent Karen Reed trial and was seen inside the courtroom. He's been widely credited with coverage of the Charlotte Lester case, culminating with the arrest of Mark Perkins. He's the only New England radio host ever Skyped into the White House press briefing under President Trump. John served as an MC of the only Trump rally ever held in Rhode Island in April of 2016, carried live on national television. John's radio show is currently heard in Mass, Rhode Island, and Connecticut on WNRI from 11 to 2. His Facebook stream has redefined breaking news in New England region. I don't know. And also streamed live from the war in Ukraine. He's been recognized several times as a top host by the Associated Press and Rhode Island Monthly, and he has experience on nationally syndicated radios like Savage Nation, Chris Plant's show. He was on Imus in the Moment. Okay. He's considered an expert on police, organized crime, politics, and political corruption. John is known for his humor. Well, I don't know about that. I don't think. Oh, okay. So he's aged. I mean, well, haven't we fucking all? I know exactly who he is now. I did not know him from the thing that he's on here. He looks completely different. What in the actual? When I saw this, I'm like, yeah, I know exactly who that is. Are you catfishing us, John? Is that what you're up to, sir? Here we go. This is his website, if anybody at all is interested. But it's what I just read, that's all. But here, oh my gosh, go back. This picture here, yeah, that's years back. And I've seen this face before, but not the face he has now. He got it. A different face. And there he is. Here he is. You can see it now, Nunya, you motherfucker. You always talking shit. That's what you do, isn't it? You're just a shit talker. The Magic 8 Ball says. Did John write this? Most likely. I would guess so, right? I don't know. So that's his radio show. He has an online store. He got an online store. Oh, Road Patrol Live. Juan on Ice. I don't know why they call him that. Ice, Rhode Island headquarters. Okay. It's a very strange place. Homeware? What? Holiday? It's an ornament. What in the actual? What in the actual fuck? He's got pint glasses for sale here, sir. All right. Well, I guess if you want to shop for some stuff, but whatever. I don't know. It's a thing. Karen Reed trial, Pawtucket police shooting, Cranston police body cam. Oh, there he is. And there he is again, asking dumb questions that don't make any sense. And I'm going to guess he wrote it. Yeah. Yes, I did. I saw that. That was wild. Your mother's a horror. Have y'all kept up with Will? Yes, I have. I watched him on Kick the other night. I check out when things get a little too tense. And Plevin, Yellow Cottage Tales, Plevin. Somebody was like, oh, you know, can we watch Plevin's reaction? I was like, yeah, we should watch Plevin's reaction. And Glaro's like, I think Plevin's actually really sick, so I'm not going to do that. And I'm like, oh, wait, what? John D looks like Candace Wells. What in the actual fuck is wrong with you, Gavel? Get the fuck out of here, you psycho. So, if you don't know who Plevin is in Yellow Cottage Tales, whatever. So, Will's like, oh, yeah, no, he's sick. You know, he's like dying of cancer. Cancer's like eating him out, you know, whatever. So, I'm not gonna fuck with him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, I didn't know he was sick. Yeah, if he's sick, definitely don't make fun of him. And so, I don't know, like 30 minutes later, he said something like, oh, he was even out doing me in views. At the end there, he's like, you know, maybe I needed cancer to eat me. Or I don't know what, you know, sometimes you just say stupid shit. I was like, okay, that's enough. Bye. Click. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So then I went to research myself, and I guess people really harassed Plevin for his cancer, saying that it wasn't true. It was like brain cancer and it metastasized, and I don't know. But anyway, it's on his Twitter from a few years ago. It's rough. It's rough. I don't know what the current status is, but he does look pretty rough right now. So I don't know. You watched him on Kick the other day too. I like Kick a lot. I think it's almost a better platform than this, really, if I'm telling the truth. You get in so much trouble over here for all the things. It's a pain in the ass. It's always some stupid shit. Community guidelines and reused content. I hate it. Yeah, never